am Dana K. White of aslobcomesclean.com and the author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life, and this is my October Q&A video. Several people wanted to be sure that I knew that the very best way to get rid of costumes would be to give them to a theater arts teacher. So I was a theater arts teacher, and I was a theater arts teacher with a lot of junk and who ended up having major clutter issues and started, instead satisfying my performance itch by talking about decluttering on the internet. Go back and watch the video with me in a Suburban. Go watch that one, because that is all about this desire to do the very best thing to get rid of stuff. Here's what I'm going to say on that, though. One of the things I've learned that I did not understand when I was a theater arts teacher, and when I was also collecting, and was trying to always find the very best person to give something to, it was always mind-boggling to me when someone said, no, thank you, when I wanted to give them my really great clutter, I did not understand that. I didn't understand why people wouldn't want all kinds of stuff. Well, here's the truth. The more stuff you have, the more stuff you have to handle, okay? So the person who lives under their clutter threshold doesn't want stuff they don't need right now, okay? Saying that, I'm going to tell you that as a theater arts teacher, I shopped at Goodwill or whatever thrift store was available to me. Okay, and I would find the things that you'd be amazed over the years at how many different versions of prairie dresses and, those big collars and things that are perfect for like Annie and stuff like that. I shopped at Goodwill. That was basically where I would go and could usually find basically what I needed. And I would find more specifically what I needed going to 3 or 4 Goodwills than having somebody dump all their stuff on me. Not that they wouldn't be grateful, and call them or text them and say, hey, would you like this stuff? If you want to do that, and you actually will do it. And yet it is perfectly fine to just donate it to the thrift store, because the people who specifically need a clown costume or whatever are going to be looking for that kind of stuff at a thrift store. Okay. So, don't let yourself get bogged down in getting rid of things in the very best way, because that often makes it go slower, which is not the purpose here. Okay. We got to get stuff out of the house. Somebody asked, what do you do with the empty storage containers? Honestly, my daughter needed them for something. That was part of my motivation. But another thing I will do is just turn them into donate boxes, like mark donate on the side and donate them. Here's somebody's good question. Would you wash and, she even said iron the costumes before donating them? No, I do not donate dirty clothes. Okay, do not donate dirty clothes. Don't donate something that is dirty. But when we're talking about costumes, okay, as a theater person, it's just not a luxury of life for everything to be freshly washed and ironed before you wear it. It just isn't, okay? So if it was dirty, then I would have washed it. And I think I did actually wash all those things when they came home from a garage sale. But it would have been washed before it got put in that tub, okay? No, I'm not going to freshly wash and iron everything that's going to go to be donated. Am I going to make sure it's not gross? Absolutely. Am I going to make sure it's basically, yes, clean and something that I would be willing to buy from a thrift store? Absolutely. Otherwise, it's going to be trashed or run through the washing machine all at one time. Okay, so don't donate dirty clothes, but also acknowledge that if it was in your closet or it was stored and it had been washed before it was stored, it can go on and be donated. Okay, I know people get the panties in a wad over that, and I understand why. So let's be clear, don't donate dirty clothes, but it also doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Okay, so on the video with Jenny, when we were going through her kids' stuff, okay, a couple of people were concerned about saying that we were sorting them into all these different hyper-organized things. Okay, let me just be clear here. We were not organizing. We were decluttering. Part of the decluttering process is consolidating, putting like things together, okay? Not as a goal to we've got all these things in very neat little spaces and they all have to go back in those neat little spaces. Now, this was just part of the process of decluttering, was putting like things together. We're going to put all of our Polly Pockets together. We're going to put all of our Shopkins, which I still don't quite understand what Shopkins are, but whatever. We missed that phase with my kids. We're going to put all those things together because what that does is it forces me to touch everything, which, as you saw in that video, naturally reveals a whole lot of does because you're touching it. Otherwise, you just kind of look at it and go, oh, it's probably all important. But when you start putting like things together and you're touching things, then clutter, like, oh, well, this can obviously go, is revealed. It also, as you put like things together, it helps you see that we have more Shopkins than can fit in a container. So then the container concept applies and we have to take out our least favorites until they all fit. Okay, so it's the process, that's the process of going through and decluttering. While we're talking about decluttering versus organizing, I had several suggestions on my video last week where I had the costumes. Several people, and I totally get this, okay? This was my unique situation. I needed to reduce the number of costumes in my house because that is just something that I am not currently doing on a super regular basis. I think it triggered some people, okay? Because, and that was not the intention, it was an example, okay? So let me talk real quickly about those. Did you just not? My dog just knocked my camera stand. Anyway, let me just talk real quickly about the suggestion I had several different times in different formats that I should create an index card system, writing out everything that is, that was in these boxes. Some people suggest that I could do a digital spreadsheet, searchable, so that I could keep everything. I had the choice, okay? I didn't see it as a choice because I've already gone past this. I'm years past that choice. But I had the choice. I could do that or I could just declutter, okay? Because the goal is to get it to a point where I personally can handle it and it fits in the space that I have better and it's not taking up space that I want for other things. Decluttering means that now I just have one bin to go through. Like, that's all I can do. I can handle going through one bin. I think. If I find out I can't, then I'll declutter it even more. But you can do all of that, or you can just get rid of stuff and then you never have to think about that anymore. And then you only have a smaller amount of stuff that then, for me personally, is a whole lot easier to keep under control because I have a low clutter threshold. I have accepted about myself that I am never going to do that. That is not how I operate. It's not how my brain works. It is a whole lot better for me. It is a whole lot more sustainable, maintainable, handleable for me to just get rid of most of it. I mean, like, you can do all that if that is what helps you personally keep it under control. But if you've tried stuff like that in the past and it's never worked for you, you can also just get rid of a whole bunch of it. And then there is less to control, which means it's easier to keep under control, especially for someone like me, okay? So you have the choice. You can organize it or you can declutter it. Decluttering achieves the purpose a whole lot faster and in a much more maintainable way for me, just by having less stuff. But I have to say something else on this, okay? And somebody's going to get their feelings hurt, and I get it, and it's fine. It is entirely possible that the multiple people, okay, so I'm not picking on any one person. I don't remember anything definite. I don't remember who asked what. It is entirely possible that the multiple people who suggested some sort of elaborate inventory system with paper and computers and yada, 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 it is entirely possible that they are the kind of people who are like, all of my stuff, that's how I do it. That's how I've already done it. Like, I have already. I mean, who doesn't immediately log something into a spreadsheet the minute it comes in their home? Like, it's very possible that people have systems set up like that in their house. That is their organizing style. Talk to Cass from Clutterbug if you want to talk about your organizing style. Like, it is entirely possible that they have existing systems set up like that and they don't understand how that kind of system is not easy. Totally possible. It's also possible, I'm going to say a little bit more probable, because they're watching me, and my stuff is called The Slob Comes Clean. It's entirely possible that maybe one of them, not you, but the other ones, okay? Maybe one of them has a lot of great ideas and looks at their stuff and can't imagine getting rid of anything. And so they think, all I need to do is get organized. Like, getting organized, that's going to be the answer. So you know what I could do? I could create a spreadsheet. I bet there is either in existence a system where I could inventory all my stuff and keep it on my computer, and I could do images, and I could do an image search, and then I could do, oh, you know what? I knew that guy in college, and he was really good at computers back in 1997. I bet you by now he developed software like that, and maybe someday I could talk to him, and he could do that. And you have these great ideas of how you could set up a super elaborate system, and if you could just ever have the time to set up that super elaborate system, all your clutter problems would be solved. That was me, y'all. Like, I can come up with elaborate systems. My problem was that those systems were so elaborate that I put off ever actually doing them. Meanwhile, my house got worse and worse, which made me have to come up with more elaborate systems. Okay, well, it's going to have to be even more elaborate. And so I was thinking and I was thinking and I was planning and I was planning and I was figuring out and I was figuring out. Meanwhile, my house had a whole bunch of junk in it and I couldn't actually live comfortably in my house because I had so much stuff, okay? Or maybe I did get started on one and I pulled out my computer and then I fizzled. And I probably pulled everything out to actually take those pictures, and then it was all sitting out, and then it was this big mess outside of what I was, where it used to be shoved in a tub. So all these different, I get it, y'all. I totally get it. But I'm never going to do that. It's just not me. And so it's possible that one person, probably not you, but somebody else who asked that question is actually thinking of all the stuff they could do with their own stuff and using that as a reason to not declutter. Oh, no, I just need to get organized. That lady is crazy on the internet, and I just need to get organized. Maybe she needs to declutter, but I need to organize. By decluttering my house, I have achieved what I wanted through organizing. I wanted to know what I had. I wanted to be able to handle what I had. I wanted to be able to find what I had, and I wanted my house to be comfortable and livable. And I achieved all of that through just getting rid of stuff, not through elaborate organizing systems. I just decluttered. So by getting that stuff out, guess what? I never have to log into a computer, something that doesn't exist in my house. Guess what? I never have to remember what I have, something that doesn't exist in my house. Guess what? I never have to keep up with a note card about something that doesn't exist in my house. Because if I come up with note cards, that's just one more thing that I have to remember where I put the note cards, y'all. Okay, so I get it. So here's my shirt today. This is actually the first shirt I ever did. Action over intention. Intentions are important, okay? I get it. The heart of what you're doing is very important. But for people like me, we tend to get really caught up in all the great ideas and all of our intent and all the things that we want to do and all the very best ways to do things and not actually take action. Meanwhile, our house does not get any better. As long as you are sitting around and thinking about some elaborate system, nothing's getting better. Okay? If you try the elaborate system and you fizzle or you fail and you think, well, I just needed a more elaborate system, meanwhile, your house is not getting any better. Do you know what makes your house better? Immediately getting stuff out. It's like magic. I know, right? But it's not magic at all. It's just decluttering, okay? I think that was it. Was I too mean? I hope I wasn't too mean. But anyway, even if I was, it's truth. I've lived it. I actually know, and I'm sorry, okay? You have a higher clutter threshold than me, which is great, but I'm different and I need to get stuff out. Or, and here's what I've found to be more likely. I know I said it was only 1% out of all of you, but it's probably most of you. The truth is, most of the people coming up with elaborate systems like that for excuses to keep all the stuff, every single thing just in case, have too much stuff and are not actually getting it done. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you haven't decided that I cannot stand that woman. How dare she act like she knows what's going through my brain. I know. Anyway, all right, I'll talk to you guys later.